Morning, people. Well, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're listening, engaging with this podcast. Good, whatever it is at the time that you are doing, whatever you are. Thanks for coming back. I have been away for a couple of weeks. It seems like ever since that 100th episode, it seems like things have kind of slowed off. Life has kind of gotten in the way, not necessarily in a bad way, but still in a way that affects the consistency of when these episodes will come out. But I think we're at a place now. Yes, me, myself, and Reggie. We are at a place now where I think things have kind of calmed down just a tad bit. And as such, we are ready to get these things rolling on a more regular basis. So thank you all for your patience, and all of those other things that come along with waiting for me to do what I do and for Reggie to do what he does. Yes, that Reggie. But I want to go back in time a little bit as I start this episode off, um, because Valentine's Day happened and I didn't get a chance to talk about Valentine's Day but since Valentine's Day always makes for good content when it comes to this particular podcast and when talking about dating in general. How can you have a dating podcast and not talk about Valentine's Day? So I'm going to do that briefly. Valentine's Day has always been strange to me, and I'm sure it's strange to a lot of people, particularly guys who don't like to spend a lot of money. And people think, oh man, women, it's a women's day and we shouldn't celebrate this and all of that stuff, because I hear that all the time. And I am one of those people that actually did that. But still, I would celebrate it just because, hey, it is what it is. You want to do what you do to make a woman happy. But happy belated Valentine's Day for all of you that celebrate that kind of thing. And if you're single, you can act like it's just another day, or you can act like it was just another day. I think it was last Monday, at least by the time I'm recording this. Or if you've been married for 100 years, like a few people that I know, and you have that understanding that Valentine's Day is just another day, shout out to you as well. But if you're new in a relationship, you probably got taxed. You probably did. That's if you're a guy, because guys get taxed like that. Because if you're a guy, you're spending all this extra money for things that would be cheaper on any other day, like today, whenever it is that you're listening to this episode. Restaurants are a whole lot more expensive than today if you were to take your lady out. Or if you're in one of these nouveau relationships, take your man out. Maybe you want to take your man out. Either way, you'll find that going out to restaurants is a whole lot cheaper today than it was on Valentine's Day. Flowers are way cheaper today than they were on Valentine's Day. Let me think, what else? And you do all that stuff for your woman, and as a guy, all you're really getting is sex. Usually the same sex that you'd be getting any other day. Is what it is. But the fact is that Valentine's Day sex doesn't make it more special for a dude, at least. But that's the price that we pay as men. We have to pay the tax, and that's cool. I mean, in the grand scheme of life, I mean, women bleed every month. So if you're a guy and our only penance is that we have to spend a little extra one day a year, it's a small price to pay. I mean, shoot, considering what women have to go through. That was the point I was making about women bleeding. It's kind of cruel, but hey, it's true. It sucks, I would imagine, to be a woman having that to look forward to every month. That's neither here nor there, though. So, as a guy like me, though, why would I need like Valentine's Day? I mean, if I'm dating with no kids and I don't have any kids, I'm thinking that I'd be doing Valentine's Day stuff all the time. Now, I'm not buying flowers every day, but we should be hanging out and doing enough throughout the dating process that Valentine's Day shouldn't be all that special of a day. As a matter of fact, if you actually like, not love, but um, you like the person that you're with, I think you'd be doing Valentine's stuff all year round. And that's even if you have kids and all that. When I talk about Valentine's Day stuff, I'm just talking about dinner, whether it's home cooked or at a restaurant, and sex. But why you need a special why you need a special day for a meal and sex? like I said earlier, there might be flowers involved, and while that might not be as frequent as dinner and sex, I mean, it still doesn't have to be a one time a year thing. I mean, at the grocery store where I live, the grocery store around the corner from my house is a Publix. You can get a dozen roses for like $15. That's cheap enough to pay for. That's cheap enough to pay more than once a year. Now, if you're having flowers delivered, though, now that can be a grip. But buying some flowers and delivering them yourself is something that you can do regularly. So when it when it comes to what it comes down to is this, and maybe what I'm about to say might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but if you do feel a special need to celebrate Valentine's Day, that could speak to some problems in your relationship. If you're so desperate for that one day of the year to do things that you should be doing all year round, yeah, you have some issues in your relationship. The strongest relationships are those that don't even acknowledge Valentine's Day, in my humble opinion. So, how'd you spend Valentine's Day? I'm asking you, you all listening to this. If you did anything specifically because of the day, you're either on the verge of breaking up or getting divorced. I'm sorry to be the one to break it to you. Divorce is around the corner if you celebrated Valentine's Day, because if you really love the person and like the person that you are with, you'd be celebrating some version of Valentine's Day all the time. Now, I guess you can look at it the other way and say that if you aren't celebrating Valentine's Day and you're not celebrating it throughout the year, like I'm suggesting, then you probably have big issues in your relationship anyway. Yeah. But that sounds good to me. Yeah. If you're celebrating Valentine's Day and you've been with your person for more than a couple years and you still blowing it out for Valentine's Day, you're probably doomed. You're on the brink of a divorce. You're on the brink of breaking up. So the best way to sustain relationships is to not celebrate Valentine's Day on Valentine's Day, but to celebrate Valentine's Day multiple times throughout the year. If you only celebrate Valentine's Day on Valentine's Day, you're in trouble. If you celebrate Valentine's Day on Valentine's Day, you're in trouble. I believe that. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Or I could just be the bitter person that didn't have a Valentine. Could be that too. I mean, who knows? It's funny because you hear so many people talk about Valentine's Day and how Valentine's Day sucks and all that stuff. I was reading that the day after Valentine's Day has been, I was about to say officially declared, but I don't know who would make it official. What would be the determining factor, or who would be the person that would determine that something's official or not? But the day after Valentine's Day has been declared Singles Day. Didn't know that, did you? Or maybe you did. I didn't know it. It was the first time I had ever heard of it. And I can just see some bitter single person, which a lot of us are, but whether we want to cop to it or not, I can see some bitter person saying, well, shoot, if Valentine's Day is this day, I'm going to combat that with making it Singles Day the next day, which is kind of ridiculous because the beauty of being single is every day is Singles Day. If you are single, if you are not in a relationship, there is, unless you, if you're single and you're not in a relationship, there is no excuse for you not to be doing things to benefit yourself. All of that money or all of that time that you would be investing in a partner on Valentine's Day or any other day of the week throughout the year should be invested in yourself. Every day should be Singles Day if you're single. If you are single and you need a special day to celebrate your being single, you have issues. Because I tell you what, as much as I would love to be in a relationship right now, I will tell you, and everybody in relationships will tell you, as great as they are not perfect, and they do come with burdens. They do come with work that you have to do. So shoot, if you are single and you don't have those burdens and you don't have that work that you have to do, you better take advantage of it while you can. Ideally, hopefully, a relationship is right around the corner for all of us. So, given that the case, and then factor in the sacrifices that we'll have to make when we do step into those relationships, you better have as much fun as we can now. If you need a day on a calendar to acknowledge the benefits of being single, and shame of you all that don't see the benefits in being single, as much as we all would like to be in relationships, being single, it doesn't suck. It's just not as cool as being in the perfect relationship, in the ideal relationship, because I don't know that any relationships are perfect, but it's not as cool as being in the ideal relationship. But with that said, how many of these relationships are ideal? I talk about a relationship maybe being around the corner, but shoot, who's to say it's the ideal relationship? Oh boy. Oh boy, the stories that I could tell. Anyway, enough of that. Let me talk about something else that I missed out on, which was the day before Valentine's Day, which is interesting. It was the Super Bowl, which really makes it interesting upon reflection, because a lot of people, when Valentine's Day is on a weekend, or if it's on the Monday after a weekend, or all Mondays are after a weekend, anyway, but if it's on a Monday like it was this year, usually the weekend is spent doing Valentine's Day things, because you have to work and do all of that stuff on the actual day. So I wonder, with the Super Bowl falling on the Sunday before Valentine's Day, for those people that feel like they have to celebrate Valentine's, I wonder how that all worked out. But the benefit, I guess, is that many women that don't watch football or watch sports in general, they would take one for the team and at least watch the Super Bowl for the commercials or the halftime show, or whatever. So maybe the guys got away with not celebrating on that day for that. Maybe. Who knows? But let me talk about the Super Bowl for a little bit. It was that weekend, the Sunday before Valentine's Day, the night before. And for the three people that didn't watch any of it, Mary J. Blige was one of the performers. And before I get into Mary, let me just say that if you all don't watch Puppy Bowl on Animal Planet after the Super Bowl, you're all missing out. Even if you aren't like a dog fan, Puppy Bowl is like the cutest thing in the world. You all are missing out. But anyway, let me go back to Mary J. Blige, because I have to tie all of this stuff back to dating. Mary J. Blige was on some kind of iHeart Radio special. iHeart, shout out to them. This podcast is carried on iHeart, amongst all of the other options, your Odysseys, your Amazons, your Spotifys. And I guess, Spotify is considering the whole Joe Rogan thing now. But with that said, if you do go to Spotify, check out Dating While Adulting, or any of the other platforms, of course, with your Apple and Google Podcasts and blah, blah, blah. Wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find Dating While Adulting. Anyway, so let me get back to Mary J. Blige, because that's the reason anyway. She was on the iHeart Radio special, and during that special, she talked about having to pay alimony to her husband, which isn't new to most people. If you're a hardcore Mary J. fan, like most women are, especially most Black women, you know all about her divorce to Kendu and how she had to pay him alimony. He served as her manager and all of that stuff, and come to find out that he was allegedly cheating on her and stealing her money and blah blah blah. And then he said that she had gotten him used to a standard of living that he was accustomed to, something that women say all the time. And then there was all this backlash, because women were like, oh, I can't believe this dude, blah blah blah. And I won't get into the whole thing about men deserving alimony and all of that stuff, because that opens a Pandora's box and forces me down a rabbit hole that I do not want to go down, except to say that, hey, whoever the breadwinner is, if you get somebody accustomed to a certain lifestyle, it's the price you pay, literally and figuratively. But anyway, she was talking about having to pay Kendu, her ex-husband, alimony. Furthermore, she talked about how she was broke because he spent her money. And, as such, when they got divorced, she was ordered to pay alimony in the total of $30,000 per month. Goodness gracious. I tell you what, can you imagine just getting a check for 30 grand a month? Sheesh. Boy, I tell you what, there's a lot of money in this world. Yeah. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I kind of got lost a little bit. It's $360,000 a year just for doing nothing. Nicely done. But anyway, so because she couldn't pay him the alimony, she was forced to go out on tour to make money. I have no words, but of course I do have words. But that is interesting. And it's funny because I often read stories and hear stories about guys who are forced to pay alimony in the amount that exceeds what they actually make. I've seen those stories. I'm sure that most of you watching this or listening to this have seen those stories or heard those stories where the alimony is to such an amount that they can't afford to live. And while a lot of people are just like, well, that's their fault. They shouldn't have did this and shouldn't have did that. Usually alimony combined with child support. But if you're going to say, if you're not going to have sympathy for that guy, I mean, shoot, how much sympathy should you have for Mary? I mean, at least she can go out on tour to make money in order to pay her 30K a month to her ex-husband that she chose. It's funny because in that same article that I read about her doing that, it referenced Tony Braxton, who also had to pay alimony to her ex-husband, and she proclaimed that men are the new bitches. Well, that should be offensive. It did make me laugh, as you can see, as it's making me laugh right now. I tell you what, and we and women talk about men being intimidated by women that make more money than them. Well, if you're gonna be called a bitch because you don't make as much money as your wife, that might be an indicator as to why. So, in closing, if you celebrate Valentine's Day, your relationship slash marriage is doomed. And if you marry a woman that makes significantly more money than you and you divorce her, you'll be labeled a bitch if you ask for alimony. Guys, keep fighting the good fight. Ladies, keep fighting the good fight. Everybody, keep fighting the good fight. I tell you what. Oh, God bless. I tell you what. Yeah, so I'll be here. I will be releasing more content more frequently now that things have kind of smoothed out a little bit. And I am back to more of a normal routine and all of that good stuff, things that you don't care about. So I'm going to leave you for now. Thank you all for joining. Reggie, come on, say goodbye to the people. Come and say goodbye to the people. Well, Reggie doesn't want to say anything, but I'm sure he conveys all of his love and blah, all of the things that he gets from his crystals. So on that note, I will say to you all, thanks again for joining, and I will talk to you in a minute. Come back and see me. Goodbye.